Hey folks, welcome to our next exit. It's Wednesday evening. We just got back into the RV. They had it over in the bay most of the day, and I promised you to give you a little update on Tuesday or Wednesday, and this is Wednesday night. We've been here 2 weeks, and we've made some progress. We've had some big ups and downs. For those of you that hadn't seen part one, just to let you know, we had a cracked windshield about 2 weeks ago, and we decided we needed to obviously get that fixed. So we're staying in Orlando. We had heard of Lazydays. We've never been there, but it's supposedly one of the biggest RV repair facilities in the country. They've got like 250 bays here. Their sign says 242 bays, and it's just a big place. So I figured this would be the place to come. We arrived here on the 23rd of January. Our appointment was January 24th, and this is February the 5th. So we're 2 weeks we've been here. And we came in with, we was going to have them repair our leveling system. That's what caused the windshield to crack, is kept letting air out and twisting the coach, and we've got a big wraparound windshield. And this happened, the same thing happened 2 years ago, and it cracked the windshield. So we decided to get the leveling system fixed, the windshield system fixed, and they've got, normally I do all the servicing and repairs and stuff, but Lazydays has a package for diesel engines. They got like 4 different packages that run from like $1,000 to almost $5,000. We took the number 3 up. It was like $2,700 to change all the fluids, inspect everything, or most everything. So I decided it'd be a good idea to have another set of eyes, just kind of go through it and see what I might have been missing. So we went ahead and told them to do that annual service and inspection. And then our slides, we've got 4 slides, and 3 of them will stick occasionally, either going out or coming in. And to make sure that doesn't happen at an RV park sometime far away from a repair place. So we got the leveling system, the cracked windshield, annual service and inspection, and service the slides. So when they were doing the and the windshield, we asked them to do last, after everything else is fixed so it don't crack again. The leveling system, it has to go to the chassis bay. So they took it over there last Friday, and they had a technician inspect it, and he made up a list of parts that he said he needed. And but he had to go to the doctor, so that he couldn't get the parts and do it Friday. They were going to do it Saturday, but the technician was there, but there wasn't a Monaco parts guy here, so they couldn't check the parts Saturday. So Monday they checked the parts, and it was about $1,600 or $1,700 in parts. And I had to approve it through the service manager. So it went from the chassis bay to the parts department to the service manager to me. And when I heard the list of parts, I decided to go back and talk to the chassis manager. And he was looking at it and going over the technician's work order. And he said, I don't think you need this $1,300 part. I don't remember the names of them. And there was a couple of parts that was about $100 a piece. And he said, you probably don't need those. So he got on the phone with the technician, the chassis technician, and they talked about it, the system and what he had found. And after they talked, they decided I didn't need those. And so I need 2 parts. They're little relays. On a car, they probably cost $10. They cost $50 for RV. But the problem is Monaco is out of business. So you can't order them from Monaco. You got to get them from a third party. And it's a Lippert leveling system, but for some reason, maybe Lippert's from Canada, I don't know, but for some reason they had to come from Canada. So it's 2 $50 parts, $100, but it's going to take a week to get here, so I had them overnight them. That was $80 just to have it overnighted, and they have to go through customs, so overnight means 2 or 3 days for customs. But they should be here Thursday, tomorrow, and then 3 hours to put it on. So hopefully the leveling system is $500, $800, I don't know what they get per hour on labor, but hopefully that's going to get fixed Thursday or Friday. The annual servicing, that's almost all done. In the annual servicing, as I showed you, the technician noticed a couple of areas where the sealant was starting to crack on the roof, and they said we need to reseal the whole roof. So I said, yeah, go ahead, that's $1,800. In part 1, I showed that video. There's a couple of areas that they didn't seal. So I went back to the service manager, and he had them go back up and seal those. And when they were up on the roof, they also said our skylight needed to be replaced. I had put a fiberglass patch on it 4 or 5 years ago, and you know, they said, well, they're doing all this, they needed to get rid of that and put us a new one on. When I did that patch, a new one cost like 80 bucks. I'm guessing buying it from here probably is double that, and I don't know what it costs to install it. But he got that done today. So the roof is completely sealed. He's got the skylight done. And in servicing the slides, the technician said the 3 bad slides just needs 3 motors. They're wore out. That don't totally sound right to me, but this technician has been doing this for 10 years here. So I'm thinking he knows a lot more than I do. So they ordered those slide motors. One of them has come in. The other 2 are supposed to hopefully be here tomorrow or the next day. So hopefully we'll get the slides fixed tomorrow or the next day. Another thing he found is on when he was underneath changing the oil, we've heard a different noise. I thought it was an exhaust gasket leaking. I had to replace that a couple of years ago, and I thought maybe it had blown out again, but I kept looking and I couldn't see the black soot on the exhaust pipe, the kind of telltale signs. So I hadn't got real serious about finding that, but what it is, it's the exhaust from the turbo going down, big old pipe, probably total of 7 feet long. It's down and over, shaped kind of crazy, but it goes from the turbo on the left side of the coach, down below the engine, over to the exhaust on the right side of the coach. And it had a big crack in it. And he just showed me, the part came in, he just showed it to me. He's having a hard time getting the old one off, but they've got the new one. And I'm glad he found that, because that's something I really don't want to tackle, not out in the middle of an RV campground. So that's where we're at. The leveling system, the part's supposed to be here tomorrow. The cracked windshield, we're going to wait till the last day. The annual service is pretty much done. They haven't done the aqua hot. They haven't serviced it at all, and that's part of it. I don't know if they forgot or whatever. They're supposed to service our air system for our air brakes and, you know, the air compressor and stuff. When we first start the coach up, it takes about 5 or 8 or 10 minutes for it to totally air up, and it should do it in just a couple of minutes. And over at the chassis shop, they told me if it's slow to air up, you probably need to just take some Dawn soap and squirt it all on your air dryer and around in there where all that action happens back there. I'm not totally sure. I've changed the air dryer before, so I kind of know what he's talking about. But he said that should be included in that service package. So that hasn't been done yet, because this morning it took about 10 minutes to air up. So we're making progress. Now, and here's the bottom line. From what we see, they're selling RVs, a bunch of RVs every day. In these 240 or 50 bays, there's RVs parked and they've got sold signs in them, sold. I gotta feel, this is such a big place, there's a ton of people here. There's gotta be in the hundreds of employees, and it's a big nut to pay for how this thing operates. So they're selling those RVs, and when they sell them, they got to service them, get them ready, or they take a used one in trade. They're fixing it up. Those things probably take priority, because I'm guessing they make $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 off of the sale of an RV. And us guys that come in with our maintenance kind of are on the B level, you know, down below that. So you got to service your appointment. They bring you in, they have them inspect it, see what you need, and then if they don't have the parts, which mostly they don't, they've got a pretty small parts area, your coach goes back out into the parking lot, and they're, you know, servicing their coaches as they sell them. And then when your part comes in, they'll bring you back in. When they get a available bay, they'll bring you back in and put the part on. And I can see where that will get very frustrating. It would be very frustrating to us. We're fortunate in that we're not pushed for time. We got 2 more weeks before we really have to be somewhere. We really are going down to the Keys and to Miami the end of this month, but that's 2 weeks away. So it's not a big deal to us. It's inconvenient and it's not fun sitting in the waiting room or driving around town and stuff, but it's not horrible. It's not like being out in the middle of nowhere. And that's where I think a lot of their bad reputation comes from. Pearl sat and talked to this lady here she was parked next to us, and I saw them through the front window. And that lady, she's been here for, when they get here? Thursday?
Yes.
They got here last Thursday, and they bought their coach from Lazydays a year ago. They've had it in 5 times for service. They brought it in last Thursday, and they've had to bring it in for the same thing a couple of times. And she's totally frustrated. They're not retired. Her husband had to go back to work, and she says she's not leaving. She's staying in her coach, and she's going to make them fix it. Now, I don't, there's 2 sides to every story, so, I don't know what all is going on with that deal. We met another couple that's been here that we was talking to this morning. They've been here exactly the same as us, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And have they been here before? I think they had.
They bought from Lazydays.
They bought their coach from Lazydays, and they've been here before. And they're a little frustrated, but not. They're the same as us. They're full time, and they've got a place they've got to be here in a few weeks, but it's not an emergency now, so they're dealing with it, and they're getting to stay in the bay the whole time. They haven't moved their coach at all. And there's some people that are just tickled to death. They bought their RV and everything's working good, and they're just coming in for service. So it goes both ways. I know a friend of ours, Joe the computer guy, you'll see his comments down there. He bought a new RV from Lazydays, and they had his coach in there for 6 months in and out, and he feels that they just misled him, and his words is they lied to him. I don't know what his issues are. It's kind of confusing to me on a new coach why there would be so much problems. I don't know, because I firmly believe Lazydays, they've got all the facilities, the tools, the knowledge, the experience. I think they can fix it right. And the key for us has been communication with our service manager, the technician, and then the guy over in the chassis shop, to just get out and go meet these guys and talk to them and kind of let them know our story and put a face behind that coach. Every time I've gone to talk to somebody, they picked up the phone and they've called the parts department, they've called who they need to call to get it moving along. But if the part's not here, you're out in the lot. You're not in a bay, you're out in the lot. And that'll get pretty old. But on the flip side of that, we've always had electricity. They've got a place to dump. You have to get permission to leave the lot. And so our service advisor called the security, told him he was going out to dump. I had to leave my driver's license with him at the security thing. We went to dump. There was no fresh water. And I asked the security person, where do I go for fresh water? And she says, you have to get your service advisor to approve it. So they've got some little dinky rules that, somebody up at the top is making some stupid rules that looks good on paper, but maybe in real life is not as good. And to be honest, that's the guy I was in my working life. I made a lot of stupid rules that seemed good to me up in the office, but the people down on the floor would think, who's that idiot Cadell up there making these silly rules? I mean, sometimes the boss has got to get out from that big old office and come down on the floor and see what's going on. But what we did is whenever it got dark, or whenever everybody left for the night, we just unhooked and we drove over to in front of the RV store. I saw a faucet there. Really, we saw another coach filling up a couple days previous. And we just drove over in front of the store and backed up to the front door and hooked up a hose and filled up our tanks. So if you hear a lot of Pearl's jibber jabber, and then she's got the convection oven going, she's making us some stew and cornbread. She doesn't know that there's a what would you call this?
Video being
A major league production going on here. So anyway, I can see how it can go both ways. I've been really happy, thinking, wow, this is great, and our experience is wonderful. And then 3 or 4 hours later, I talked to the next guy. Something they told me was going to happen didn't happen. And I'm totally frustrated. I'm down in the, it goes like this a lot. But they're just so big, they have to keep things going, and you are never at the top of the list. There's always somebody to bump you down. If they don't have the part, or they got something more important. And yeah, probably they don't always tell you why you got moved or why you got bumped or why. They give you some excuse, but it may or may not be an accurate statement. I don't know that to be a fact. I just suspect it. But right now we're in a happy mood. We're up on a high. Things are progressing. Parts are supposed to start coming in tomorrow and the next day. It's possible we could get all that stuff finished up Friday and Saturday and go to the windshield shop on Monday and be out here on Tuesday. And it's possible we may be here 2 more weeks, then part 4 or 5. So we'll let you know. That's where we're at. the beeper's going off, so our dinner's ready. So I'm gonna let you go until we'll probably do another video in a couple of days and let you know if we got the parts, if they got them installed. And the biggest important thing is that it fix it, or did they just replace some parts and now we go to step 2. But until part 3, keep the wheels rolling, stay safe. We'll see you at the next exit. And wish us luck, please. Bye-bye.